True that.
Seiko versus BoarControl is our 5th match that we have coming up. And for Seiko, this is must-win territory. He needs to be able to stay ahead and just keep it that way. He is absolutely on the brink of relegation. He's had some matches this season that did not look by any stretch of the means glorious in regards to how strong of a player he genuinely is. And now it's do or die time. He's facing off against BoarControl, and he has to get the job done. See down below the bans and protects that happen. The Divine Shield around a class means it was protected, and no one in Europe is fooling around. Protect that priest. No time for games anymore. Shaman banned away from BoarControl's side. He brought Quest Shaman this week.
Boar, from his position, is chasing down playoffs. Seiko, it's not literally a must-win for him, but it is very much a must-win scenario. As Admirable put it, he needs to stay ahead of Fino. He needs to make Fino continue to chase. And I also want to echo the sentiment that this season as a whole has not been representative of Seiko's ability as a Hearthstone player. I think this isn't just a caster soundbite. This is something that you'll hear other players say as well. 2018, Seiko might have just been the best technical player in the world. He was, if you needed advice on how to get a high legend finish, if you needed a lineup for a tournament, if you needed to know how to play a matchup and you were a European player, Seiko was the guy that you went to, like overwhelmingly. And I think he showed that in the first season of Grandmasters. His second season has just not been up to that standard, through various factors. And this division, to me, is potentially just as, if not even more heartbreaking than Division A, because I love Fino. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a super entertaining personality. I love his stream. I think he's a great player. Absolutely do not want to see him get relegated. But I think Seiko is as good as anyone in the world when he is on his day. So I think it would, particularly hurt even to see him get relegated as well. But one of them has to.
You know my position. It's going to hurt no matter what.
Yep.
Priest versus Warrior. I heard Viper kind of talking about this. Admittedly, my opinion has faced doubt recently.
Oh, I had a good time during that interview, Admirable.
What do you mean?
Just the look on your face. It was priceless.
Well, I mean, he insulted attorney over. I take that personally.
I know you do.
Viper, you'll be hearing from my lawyer. Just kidding. Made a pretty excellent point, honestly.
Of course he does. He's Viper. Everything that he says, every opinion that he holds is going to have weight behind it. Doesn't mean sometimes he's not wrong. He did put Rafam in his deck after all. Got him!
Wow. I mean, while he's,
he's
fighting the relegation spot. I mean, come on, Sonnel.
He called me out about it, all right? He started it.
Touché. Seiko facing down the big minion early on. So, one of the reasons that my opinion has begun to sway on this matchup is as I've been playing Priest on my secret account, I have just been dome-busting Warriors. Like, I don't know if I'm just, like, TJ drawing everybody or what's happening, but my gosh, like, they have just died on turn 5 so often.
Yeah, that sounds like you've been TJ drawing them to me.
Okay.
Yeah. I can understand if you're like, yeah, sometimes I'd have the answers, and then I'd Bon Samdi, and then just maybe get over the line turn 8, turn 9. Like, that sounds about right to me.
That's happened a lot, too.
Killing them on turn 5 over and over again, yeah, it sounds like you're not drawing.
Yeah, I'd say it's been about 1/6 to 1/5 of my games.
Right.
For Seiko here, you already see the tendencies to have put thing in play, but then make use of it later. I don't know how he does it. Like, Seiko plays more cards just to put them in play than anyone I've, like, ever seen, and just somehow still has cards left. Like, I don't understand it.
Yep.
I must consider.
So you missed the part where he shadow stepped a novice engineer this game?
Ooh, Shadow Step Snip Snap sounds kind of fun.
Spore want to all in this turn. He's facing down the threat of a minion in play that he's not going to be able to remove. But if there is no Plague of Wrath, there is no answer.
I got you, friend.
Well, I would like to introduce you to our friend Brawl.
Yes.
Who is always a technical answer. Seiko the option to increase that brawl from 66.66 repeating, of course, percent chance.
I would like to do that instead. Thank you very much.
So you want to tank the damage?
Well,
you have armor up.
You can use your, yeah, you can use your Snip Snap.
Oh, yeah, that's way better. Okay, yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
What now?
Yeah, haven't been running into this issue.
I think in general, ladder warriors are playing less copies of, you know, Weapons Project and things like that. Like, that is, as Viper was describing it, kind of our pocket meta in Grandmasters, where it's Holy Wrath Paladin.
Yeah.
Weapons Project is a very, very good card against Priest, though.
I thought you were going to start that sentence out with less good. When you said ladder warriors,
I must choose.
I thought you were just going to say playing less good. Seiko wants the brawl.
Ooh!
Taking the risk. I like it. Sigh of relief, too. You can see that the pressure is built up on Seiko and his record as he needs to pick up a win here to stay ahead of Fino.
So why does Seiko want to give himself the 25% to get hit in the face with a big thing again?
My guess would be that it's about the Shield Slam mattering later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Shield Slam, I feel like when I lose Warrior games, it's because I'm Shield Slamming as an answer instead of Shield Slamming for tempo.
I'm not sure I buy that.
I did say I feel like. It would make some sense. I'm thinking like Psychopomp as well.
I think Psychopomp is relevant. I think maybe like making sure he has an answer to High Priest Armet as well. And I guess like he just had 2 brawls in his hand. Like
I said, you spend a 5-mana card, right?
Yeah.
75% is a very high success rate.
It is. It is. 100% is higher though.
I see a dark.
Yeah, we 100% have a Shield Slam in our hand now.
Yep. Absolutely not critical of that position from Seiko, though.
Just curiosity.
Yep.
I mean, it's a really interesting spot, I think.
Yep.
All right, is it time to go round 2?
Yeah, now it's a 75% brawl in your opponent's favor. Let's call it 50-50, to be fair.
Yeah, Beaming Sidekick winning. It still hurts, but it's not nearly as scary.
Yep.
The other 2, pretty scary.
Yep. Boar just needs a turn to bridge him this gap to his one Samdi, which draws 2 Clerics and a Light Warden at this juncture. He will draw one of those on turn 7 because that is the rule of one Samdi, so he will draw 2 cards off his one Samdi.
Ah, this is kind of interesting. Our Megadillo to contest. Board develops more out of incentive.
Sure.
It's a lovely turn of do I die right now.
My favorite game.
Very unlikely that you die.
Extremely unlikely that you die, yes.
And you can see why, in a way, you can see why I think we've been praising Seiko's technical play when he's in good form, is it's unlikely that you die here, so why fear it?
Yep.
It's unlikely that you lose the brawl, so why fear that? It is, however, very likely that Shield Slam provides you a tempo tool. It's very likely that this Armagadillo is a big roadblock for Boar and perhaps leads you into a better brawl.
It's very likely that this brawl, if you cast it that turn, really didn't do a great deal for you.
That's right.
Like 50% of the time, and 25% of the time, they still have an Armet, and that's a freaking disaster. Like, you've just used your last mass removal, and they can just play every minion in their hand into that Armet. 50% of the time, they have an Armet or a Light Warden, and you're still under pressure going into what's soon to be their one Samdi turn.
Yep.
So this one I am 100% on board with. I think this is very, very smart from Seiko's position.
I also think this just looks good, too. Got the Acolyte out of this as well. Like, this brawl is going to look so much better. You just killed an extra thing.
That extra thing draws cards. Shutting down card draw is the way you beat Priest.
Boar's shaking his head, doesn't like it. That brawl still looks pretty scary.
Couldn't he have... I feel like he could have pushed 1 extra damage that turn, but it's gone from my brain. Never mind.
This is the important
Brawl
part.
outcome, far more important. It's the big one.
That's a big hurt that Seiko's going to suffer from this.
Yep. These 1 buffed up, 1 unbuffed Tomb Wardens that are coming down over the next few turns, though, are going to present a big roadblock for Seiko to overcome. Sorry, for BoarControl to overcome. But this is the card you do not want to see in Seiko's shoes. Wait, hang on, sorry, the game bugged? He didn't draw a 1-drop on turn 7 when he was about to play What's Up?
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, wait, what?
I've genuinely never seen that happen.
Yeah, it doesn't have the mana to use all the stuff he wants to. God, he's just like 1 damage off of getting this done in a super efficient way.
Yep, 1 damage, 1 mana. Restless Mummy. Restless Mummy, Project Shield Slam. Is a full clear.
Gotta tank 7 more.
Yep. What else are you gonna do? Leave him with minions?
Not unless you want to take 7 more twice.
Yep. That seems worse.
I must choose.
However, the life total only matters for inflection points while Boar has stuff in play.
Oh, that's an Epheset Ritualist.
You going in?
I really don't want to silence a 1-2. That upsets me. You can wait 1 turn, try and clap back against the Tomb Wardens coming down instead. You saw the Armadillo get activated, right? But I guess having 2 clerics in play kind of shuts off that turn from your opponent anyway. Because they'd have to play it into 2 clerics surviving onto the board.
I'm pretty interested in drawing 6 cards.
Yep. Sign me up. BoarControl, single copy of Silence. So he's going to have to go through these taunts the hard way. Scary prospect.
I'm thinking Warpath.
Agreed.
That's going to be Psycho Pomp for BoarControl.
He needs this Psycho Pomp to be Armet, I think. It's looking like that kind of game.
He's already seen 2 brawls.
Yep. Don't think any other outcome gets him through all of this heat that Psycho's packing.
There's 11 minions dead.
I like those odds.
The end begins. I have more left in
Not quite,
me.
but you'll take it.
So how now can you set up to punch through some Tomb Wardens?
Yeah, there's one. He saw the Armadillo go off, so he knows that there is at least 1 buff taunt minion in hand. It could be Ziliax. That's probably best case scenario for him, because he doesn't really care about Psycho healing. He cares about being able to just get a minion to hit him in the face at some point. So 1 taunt minion is better for Boar than 2 taunt minions. The bad news is that it's 4 taunt minions. Back to the good news, 1 of them didn't get buffed.
Can you set up to punch through 2 of them in the same turn? I feel like you can.
Consider.
But does that deliver enough damage?
I mean, Boar still has an Inner Fire remaining, so he can use his Topsy on one of the Tomb Wardens that comes through, and like Topsy Extra Arms will punch through one of the 5/8s. The second one is still a problem from that point, though. So he'd probably have to be drawing like exactly Inner Fire on the next turn.
I think that's what he's thinking about
There
here.
you go, like Topsy Extra Arms, Divine Inner, punch through, still have the big thing on board.
This would represent 24 in the face of a Tomb Warden if he were to draw Inner Fire.
Okay.
Wait a minute. No, he doesn't need to draw Inner Fire.
kills 2 5/8s and pushes 24?
Oh, if they're 5/8s, yeah. I think there's a chance he's ignoring 5/8. And if it's 5/8, figure it out.
Sure. I think that's valid.
So my guess is that he's done a lot of the figuring it out part already.
He knows there is a buff to something, but as mentioned, it could be Ziliax from his perspective.
Yeah, second warpath, you can't beat that.
Nope. Can't beat everything. You've got to pick a line, you've got to pick a percentage, you've got to pick a world, and you've got to execute it. I think that's what Boar tried to do.
And you know there's a taunt in hand.
Is this our next game from BoarControl, or is he going to play it out? Hard to imagine how he beats even the best case scenario, which is Ziliax right now. As it is, it's about the worst case scenario. 4 cards in hand, and they're 2 Morden Omega Assembly, Dr. Boom, Mad Genius.
It's about as bad as it could
Is
possibly
there a
get.
better hand of cards actually remaining in Seiko's deck that he could have right now?
Whirlwind, Plague of Wrath, Whirlwind, Plague of Wrath. Oh, in his deck.
In his deck, yeah. He does have 1 Whirlwind.
Well, he does have Whirlwind, Plague of Wrath.
Yeah, okay. So replace Dr. Boom and Assembly with Whirlwind, Plague of Wrath. That's probably marginally better.
Name.
Quickly.
Playing around, what, shield block, shield slam kind of stuff. Big Ziliax, trading into it immediately.
Mana expenditure reasons in case you draw something that
Yeah,
matters.
I mean, yeah, play your cards.
Yep.
Always a good argument.
Counting 12 into that Light Warden if you really want it.
Oh, I do.
Oh, then you can take it if you'd like. Boar knows. Ah, the last shred of hope. How the game must torture Boar so before he's able to exit.
Yeah, I mean, he still hasn't seen this buff taunt minion that he knows is there, right? Like,
Use it now.
the game is just hanging him by a thread right now. The silence is gone. He's technically threatening lethal, except surprise he never is because he knows that this Ziliax is there. It's an X-game scenario.
You have bet.
Seiko takes the right risks. The risks pay off. And that's a game 1 victory under Seiko's belt.
I am very interested in that first one, though, where he gave himself a 25% disaster. And again, 100% want to clarify, this is not a criticism. This is because I know Seiko is very smart. I know Control Warrior is sometimes a personal weakness of mine, so I'm always interested to learn from good players in situations like that. Because it looked so very clean to me, but I guess just, as you said, various reasons. 2 brawls in hand, mana expenditure, needs a way to check Armet if just Armet comes down solo onto the board. There's lots of upside for it, but it is still 25% disaster.
Yeah, but it also, I think the added benefit of throwing the 1/2 into the Seiko pomp pool sometimes makes it, to me, like pushes it over the edge. Like when I hear that argument, I go, okay, that makes sense.
Because he had
to
big
me.
guy beaming sidekick, and then
Yes.
there was 2 1/1s. Yeah, right. Sure.
So if you actually win the brawl in that spot, it's not so much that you've won the brawl, but so much that you have cut into Seiko Pomp's impact by a tremendous amount if you win that brawl. And I think that's an important risk to take because, A, again, it's 25%. Like, how many Sea Giants have you brawled away? Like, Sea Giant lives, it's a disaster, but
Yep.
it's just really not that likely to happen. So it's very apparent, which is one of the reasons I dislike Brawl, is because it's very Priest-like in its impact. It happens immediately and right away, and there's a lot of volatility to it. But at the same time, those are just calls you're going to have to make.
From that point onwards, though, I think even if like we were suggesting plays and then Seiko did something different, like we could see immediately, like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Seiko is doing the smart thing. I have like 0 questions. Even if I would have done things differently, I immediately understood why what Seiko was doing was better once I see it happen. So that was a really telling match for me to watch, just in terms of like perhaps why some people think Warrior is favored against Priest, where I was consider it 50-50 at best. But that's probably just because I'm a lot stronger with Priest than I am with Warrior, and people on the other side of that equation will have different feelings.
Yeah, I'd say stuff like that is likely the case. So just, he also just has the goods in that scenario, like having 2 Brawls, having Weapons Project, Shield Slam. Those are like some of your picture-perfect cards to have. But
yeah, and he managed to string Boar out for like 6 turns without just playing the big taunt that he had in his hand that ended the game as well. So
it's just everything lines up that way. Like, you play it right, you're going to win games. Like, just pay the life and attack minions when you need to. The Priest cannot kill you without a minion in play.
Nope.
So your main goal is, even if you got 1 life left, kill every minion.
Yep. No Holy Ripple anymore.
Nope.
1 is functionally 30 as long as you can kill everything they play each turn.
Indeed. And so with that, we got to go to a break. But when we come back, we're getting right back into our 5th match of the dice. Seiko up to a 1-0 lead, desperately needs a win, but he's taking on BoarControl first. Stay tuned.
Legends say powerful treasures are hidden everywhere here in Aldoom.
If we hope to defeat Rafam, we'll need as many as we can get. He's already unleashed the ancient plague lords and countless monsters. Keep them distracted, Reno.
Not a problem. This plan is totally gonna work. Ain't that right, Finley?
Oh, yes! I have them right where I want them!
There is an artifact here. The name is...
The scales of justice. Oh, it must be really fancy.
only to be used in a time of great peril. Yes, I think this qualifies.
Hey, look, Finley! You've lured one of the Plague Lords!
Take this, fiend!
In the face! Yeah! Hey, guys! Get that treasure! We've got a Plague Lord to destroy!
Yes, please, hurry!
Not to worry, Finley. We just push this thing right here.
No, that's a trap. Watch out!
It's all good. I am phonily timed.
Gracious me!
What we actually need to do is press this. And there. A fish.
No! It's the scales of justice!
Ah, who wants to use it first?
Oh, I do! Me! On second thought, maybe give it to Finley?
All you had to do was hold a rope.
Here we go, blaming the tall, ruggedly handsome guy again.
Hello, my name is Kong Shu. My handle is StrifeCrow. I think my original name was just like Strife. I think I just stole it from someone else that I saw online at the time when I was like 10. One of my favorite esports memory, it was like a dream hack. I ended up having like this like epic, like I don't even know how long, this game against Glinto eventually beat me in that game, but I kind of brought the mage to the tournament, not as like, say I thought it was like the best thing ever, but because I just wanted to like show people I could destroy everyone with my kind of like troll deck. The thing I'm most looking forward to in Grandmasters is kind of the dynamic, because I've never really had this like league kind of dynamic in the past. You have 2 matchups a week, and you can kind of like target them. You know, you can start making spreadsheets, see what they play, see what decks are good against the decks that they play. You can even kind of play some mind games like that. I think my play is unique in the sense that I'm very like technical. I don't play a lot on intuition as much. Like I really like to have my thoughts and game plans planned out and go from there. My personal goals this year is kind of to get back into Hearthstone. Because I took such a long break, I feel like I'm finally refreshed and ready to go. So that's one thing I'm just looking forward to get like that motivation back.
Welcome back to Hearthstone Grandmasters for Europe. It is our 5th and final match of today before we ship it over to the Americas. Right now, Seiko has a 1-0 lead over BoarControl. I'm Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora, joined by Simon Sottle Welch. And Sottle, we are heading into a Priest versus Druid matchup where Seiko is going to be piloting Druid.
Yeah, and I guess that is the silver lining. Kind of TJ and I were like memeing about this quite a lot, is like if you play Priest early on and you lose, well, the good news is you still have Priest in your lineup.
Hey!
So Boar can throw it out here, and he has a very, very strong matchup to go into against the Druid from Seiko. And there's a little bit of that 50-50. I love that Viper was saying there's one rational decision, and then there's like the mind game decision. He was using the word rational to describe the choices that he made. So here you have that kind of 50-50 dynamic where you could say, well, obviously Board's going to queue Priest again. It's Priest. You just queue it every time. But Seiko can say, well, you know, from my perspective, I can just play a Priest Mirror or I can play Druid. But there's the opportunity that Boar gets the read that Seiko wants to play Priest because he doesn't want to play Druid, and therefore Boar picks his Warrior. So that's kind of more of that dynamic that Viper was talking about, how it can have a big impact on win rate, just who gets the better side of the mind games and the guessing games in that scenario.
Also, if Boar just happens to go Druid for whatever reason, which he's not going to, I don't think, you get a Druid Mirror match.
Yep. That would seem unusual.
Tech the Druid to be strong in the mirror for this exact scenario.
I think some people have been trying to do that, right? I think it's reasonable.
I'm seeing a hand from Boar that is
Time waits for no one.
Big.
it's good. So Boar sees the Worthy Expedition on turn 1. I've actually become a fan of the Worthy Expedition on 1, specifically for this iteration.
Yep. Find a Wrath, kill the first minion.
And so for Boar, that means play the Northshire, coin the first protection.
I honestly don't remember the last time I lost to Druid when they didn't kill the first minion I play. At first, when I would play like a 2-3 injured Tolvir or whatever as my first minion, and then they'd wrath it and miss their quest completion, like in the first like few days of Priest being a deck, I'd be like, yeah, you didn't even get to proc your quest that turn. And then more and more as time went on, I was like, oh damn, that's actually what beats me when they kill the first minion that I play. So that is weird looking from Seiko to skip not only turn 1 quest, but he'd be willing to skip turn 2 to wrath a minion as well if it was necessary. But I think it's absolutely correct in the matchup.
Yeah, just not the relevant factor.
Nope.
Complete quest later, kill things now.
When your opponent is able to make a 1-5 on turn 2, and then that 1-5 turns into a 7-7 with charge on turn 2, your wrath looks a little bit silly. But I fully support the line from Seiko.
No mind control tech on the side for Seiko, so Boar free to develop as much as he'd like.
Pretty interested in this Tolvir getting in play.
I'm interested in this sidekick getting in play as well.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Ah, you think we should play all of our minions and go face?
Yeah.
I concur. Positioning from Boar, the two big ones with the high health total are together. I'm going to call it out this time before the Nephicet Ritualist is drawn.
Well, now it's never getting drawn.
There's the Wrath. Again, made to look maximum stupid by the fact that there's a Psycho Pop to follow this up as well, but again, fully support the line from Psycho. You just ran into the hand that you don't beat as Druid. Dead. D-E-T, dead.
I concede.
Game 3, lots to analyze in game number 1. Lots to analyze in game number 2.
Analyze that adorable face, Admirable. That's what you got to do at times like this. Boar just gives the smile The cheeky grin, as we would call it.
There are times that like I question Druid, and it's just always this one, and I'm like, nope, stop. That doesn't happen.
I mean, so
Decks don't get to attack with 7/7s on turn 2 very often.
But,
it's okay.
Well, but here's the thing, right? And I tweeted about this, and I do personally believe that the Priest set is in need of like a general rework. I think we've reached the point where like it's either trash or it's god tier like too often, and you know the set needs to be looked at. But I made that tweet, and then I immediately followed it up saying the one class I will never have sympathy for losing to Priest is Druid. Like, yeah, you did nothing for 5 turns, then you got hit in the face with a 12-12, right? Like, of course that happens. Like, what were you expecting? That's just how it works.
I got nothing to say.
I mean,
just like Druid on turn 2.
Exactly. And I do think that like that matchup has evolved to the point where Druids like find their outs, but their outs are still so small.
Yeah.
Just positions like, oh, I don't have a Wrath in my hand. I'm going to skip playing my quest to play Worthy Expedition to then find a Wrath so I can maybe Wrath his injured Tolvir on turn 2 and then maybe survive long enough that my Oasis Surges do things.
It's the way to do it.
It absolutely is, but it's still a very low percentage win rate because it's a horrible matchup.
Take what you can get, however. So that brings us to game number 3, and we'll find out what they're playing right after this. Druid Mirror is the word I have gotten, so that's what we have to look at now. And for Seiko, no mind control tech, one copy of Power of the Wild, but he does have Chef Nomi at the top end.
Ooh.
On Boar's side, it does have the mind control tech in here. No Power of the Wild and no Chef Nomi. And so that's interesting to me. I feel like Power of the Wild is a card I'm becoming more and more fond of as I see it played out.
Preserved.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually against that card early and then was convinced more and more of it as I saw, like, for example, the Casey Bunnyhopper RDU build that they brought to, like, consistently beat down Paladins, for example, with, like, double Ferocious Howl, double Power of the Wild. So they had the armor plan and the pressure plan, both really effectively checked. And I do think that, like, just for a generic list, that one Power of the Wild is a nice sweet spot if you're just, like, going for a vanilla Druid list that beats everything. Or beats everything. That is as effective as possible against everything.
Attempts to.
Yes.
Yeah. That's sort of the nature of Druid, right? It attempts.
Mm-hmm. It's like Seiko attempted to find himself a Wrath and succeeded. Unfortunately, all it did was turn his opponent's 2/3 into a 2/6 reborn.
Yeah. However, that's in the past. We're in a Druid Mirror match now. I favor Coin in this matchup.
I favor Nourish in this matchup.
Well, they both have that.
Yeah.
So what do you favor now?
I actually don't know. I have had success from both sides of the matchup, both on coin and off coin. And like I couldn't necessarily rack my memory banks for times where I would consider my hand and my opponent's even. Generally, in mirror matches, just initiative is good. Being the first guy to play a thing means that your opponent is having to respond in kind with a similar thing, but your guys have attacker's initiative. Whether that is the case when your opponent has the ability to coin out an earlier quest activation on turn 1, like who knows, but Boar is struggling a little bit now, and we are right back where we started the day, Admirable, in this 4-2 rush versus a Crystal Merchant land.
Look, I have a Nourish. I have 2 Innervates. I'm doing it.
I think this is very different context from the one we saw earlier. I was extremely against the first one because you had your own Crystal Merchant. I think it was Tice versus Swids in that series, right? I was 100% in favor of not rushing out the Loti. I think in this scenario, you do not have your own Crystal Merchant. You do have Nourish. Like, you have powerful things to do as long as your opponent does not get too far ahead of you. Scary, scary prospect, though. Loti is an incredibly powerful card in the matchup.
Oh, I don't want to do either of them. I wish I just didn't have Loti in my hand.
Wait, you don't want to play it or not play it?
Correct. I wish I just didn't have Loti. I wish my turn was just easier. Like, give me a swipe, give me a second Starfall, just don't give me the Loti and 2 Innervates.
Wait, would you innovate, swipe, innovate this turn if you had swipe?
No, I would just ignore this.
Okay. Just let it draw the one card.
Yeah.
Okay. I do agree with this, though. I think context dependent. I did not like doing this the last time we saw it. I do like doing it this time.
Boar is not happy about it. I wonder if Boar shares the same sentiment that I do.
I also really like the art on just Rush Loti. So there's that.
Just a nice thing.
Yeah.
Behold.
Hey! We're happy again. Everything's simple.
Seiko, on the other hand, see, this is the reason I favor coin, is literally this scenario right here.
Okay.
Like, Seiko's just behind the rest of the game, right? Like, the first tempo play he gets available to him is on turn 6. So Boar has the option of developing or nourishing.
Yes.
If he has a second innervate.
Yeah, and it was kind of the point I was meandering towards before we got distracted by the Crystal Merchant dilemma, is that normally tempo goes to whoever was playing first because you just play your thing first. Whereas tempo is non-existent on every turn up until quest completion in the Druid Mirror. Therefore, the person with the first quest completion is actually the one that gets tempo, which makes this weird dynamic where it is flipped on its head, and maybe coin does have the advantage.
In Seiko's spot, I'm pretty interested in finding a turn where I play Surger and Power the Wild in the same turn to try to fight against opposing Oasis Surger.
Yep.
However, in this spot, I wonder if he's considering it.
I think Seiko should be super interested in getting to the bottom of his deck in this matchup. I talked about it a lot in a Druid Mirror where they did not play Chef Nomi. Seiko does play Chef Nomi. So I think that makes his nourishes incredibly important to get cast wherever possible.
Hand size is going to matter too. If you nourish now, you're going to play something else.
Yep.
If you play it on turn 7, you still roll into 10 mana cleanly.
Time waits for no one.
Yep.
He's just a play stuff, so it's a play gamer. He can't help himself. I don't blame him. Benefit of all your plays look good. I'm curious how much the no Lodi changes how you'll fight for board as well.
Oh, I imagine a ton. Like, if you know you just can't get that persistent spell damage totem at any given point, like, it kind of leads directly to plays like this, right? Where, like, you know, Starfall is decent this turn. I'm just going to play it. Imagine there's a world where we see a third Anubisath defender. Nope. That Floop is ridiculously high value in this matchup.
Yeah, I think giving up the Floop to the 4-1, bad idea.
Yep. Seems pretty terrible.
And then Boar's just got tempo, and he's gonna capitalize on this super hard.
All the Cenarius value trades.
It's so brutal.
Yeah, that doesn't really help you out too much. He's just going to use the other one.
Considering some other turns, though, I think there's some other things that can look pretty brutal for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Seiko, he knows that's not good for him. Maybe you trade in the 5-3, actually. I'm pretty interested in it.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. So
Starfall Lodi?
Let's talk about Loti Starfall, yeah. You'd still have your Treant survive. You'd still have your 5-4 survive. No,
yeah.
I don't care. I'm
Never
not
mind.
interested. Value trades.
Yeah.
AVT. We learned this last year.
No comment.
Seems wise.
And for Seiko, no play. He might be dead. Might be alive.
Starfall swipe.
Lodi Starfall I still think is better.
Power takes
Is it?
I think so, yeah. Kill 5-8, you kill 5-3.
Are you attacking?
No, I'm just going to eat I have 2 Hidden Oasis in hand.
Okay.
If I'm Seiko in this spot. So now, if I'm Boar in this spot, I'm curious how appealing the Cenarius looks, because the punishes are another Starfall and double swipe.
I think if we get down to the scenario where like everyone empties their deck and we're all super happy about it, and then everyone just plays all their threats after they've duplicated things with Elise, Seiko's winning that battle, right? Because he has a Chef Nomi in his deck that Boar doesn't have. So I think Boar playing for tempo here is 100% correct in the situation.
If you're going to play Cenarius, heal up your thing, make a giant board, and attack. Double swipe is the answer. And it's a massive answer. Is that better? I think double swipe attack is what I'm looking at, but mana expenditure is a real thing. Do you only need single swipe?
Yeah.
Does a single swipe kill both?
Yeah, you just start full swipe.
Oh my gosh, he kills everything.
Yep.
Oh!
It's all dead, Dave. Everybody's dead.
Oh! Ow.
Ow, indeed. Can I interest you in a nice 5/5, a 5-drop, a 3-drop, and a 2-drop?
What is my 3-drop and what is my 2-drop?
Nope. You have to decide now. Take it back.
Can I interest you in a 6-drop, a 6-drop, and a 4-drop?
Yes. See how easy that is? Straight answers.
I thought you were going to ask what the 6-drops were.
Nope.
I do find this more interesting. I'm feeling a bit low.
Do you, though?
I'm feeling pretty low. Like, your answer post Phaeris, if you don't get defense, is expose Lodi. And then even if you're thinking about post defense on the Phaeris, you still have to consider what Starfall and Oasis Searcher look like on the other side.
I mean, you would also just die to double swipe some of the time.
Yeah, I think you have to pay attention.
I just, like, every time I watch these GM Druid games, they're just spending every spell in their hand before they play King Phaeris, and it just worries me.
It's just not meant for the matchup.
Yeah.
At least I don't think it is anyway.
Yeah.
I've had my own struggles about it. I tend to just take colossal risks and somehow keep getting there. But I see their points. There's a lot of stuff to fear on the other side.
Yep. With Floop gone, Phaeris gone, Boar's running out of steam. Again, full respect for the way he played the matchup. I think if they do play out the same kind of game that Tyson Swids played earlier, Seiko just has the extra threats. He just gets over the line more often than not. So Boar tries to seize the advantage. He has Cenarius into Cenarius. Huge board after huge board, 3 turns in a row. Seiko needed, what, 4 total removal spells plus a Loti to be able to deal with it.
What to do?
This is a good-looking Elise.
Need a hand, Explorer?
Yeah.
For no one.
Appropriate reaction.
It's going to get worse, Boar. The turn is not over. There's one.
Mind control tech on Boar's side is what Seiko has to think about.
Yep. Turns it down. Does not want to get his low-T mind control tech here.
That would be the worstest. I guess, is there any, was there any merit to wrathing first with the Elise, or do you, mana efficiency is important, etc.? Like, in this instance, if he would have wrathed first before the Elise, he would have drawn a Starfall. So the remaining draws in Seiko's deck versus the Wrath is the question.
He wants to duplicate the Wrath so he empties his deck quicker, so he plays Chef Nomi quicker, right?
That's my guess, yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Just curious about, you know, like, hitting a Floop or hitting a Starfall or what have you.
Yeah, sure.
Time waits for no one.
Hitting a Zephyrus. A lot of damage connected for Boar. But I feel like I've seen this scenario before. It's a pretty ugly looking turn, though. Wrath. Hidden Oasis.
Yeah, looks like it to me. I don't want to use a Starfall here. Seems like an overreaction. Using the double Wrath also digs you through your deck, as I was talking about. As soon as Seiko can start slamming Nomis, this game is pretty over. As long as he can do so and survive on the next turn. Yes, Boar, hit no aces.
Out.
Yep.
Time waits for no one.
He just learned that the hidden oasis got duped. You saw, if you can lip read a British accent, very difficult, I know. Said not the hidden oasis, right as that card was being targeted. What else was it going to be? Turns out it was.
So how does Boar now manipulate his Elise the Starseeker to try to take this on? Is there even a way to do it?
I personally can't imagine it. It would need to be...
If you keep getting enough Oasis Surges, you can do anything.
Is that true? I'm not sure it is. I feel that there are certain limits to even Oasis Surge's powers. Floop gone, Cenarius gone, Feoris gone.
Blasphemy. The only limit is yourself. I'm trying to picture a world, and it's really tough.
Zephyrus in a dream.
Time waits for no.
Like it would have to be like a weird Zephyrus fatigue damage setup, right? Where Seiko ends up playing Nomi, and you have like Zephyrus freeze with some damage development.
Sure, yeah. Makes sense. Duplicate, yeah. So you set up for fatigue, you duplicate your Zephyrus, and you look to chain Zephyrus Nova, Zephyrus Nova for fatigue.
And so I think that's exactly what Boar's thinking of too, is like you need something spectacular, so start moving towards card draw.
Okay.
Also need a better position in your hand if this is going to work.
That's 3 Nomis.
I think the first one's enough.
Yep. That's why they're going to have to get frozen, because clearing them, even if you could, just doesn't really achieve anything. And that's why I like this play from Seiko. Start threatening with boards that are not your Chef Nomi.
So that's the thing, is right? This is now answered where the Feoris comes in. It's the bridge to Nomi. Why play it early when you can bridge the gap with it? However, this does risk the mind control tech onto a Lodi, so how impactful can that be?
Sure.
Time waits for no one.
I don't know, man. Let him draw.
I like revealing it. The reason I like revealing is if it gets stolen, it doesn't have stealth anymore. Like, BoarControl could steal it and then just play a removal spell instead of attacking with it.
Oh, that's really smart.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the last. Is it the last card for Seiko a Ferocious Howl? One of these last two?
Engaging TC-130 into this locator.
Okay, what does that change?
A lot.
Can you do anything with Zephyrus now?
It gives Boar tempo this turn. If he just wants it, like, vanilla play is just kill the 6/6, play the Oasis Surger, actually have control of the board for the first time in a very, very long time. But is there anything better than that?
What to do?
Time waits for no one.
Not seeing the Zephyrus line that fills me with any glee.
No, I am not either. That is surprisingly strong in this spot. I didn't even think about that.
Just the hidden Oasis?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I think Oasis Surger is a card that Boar is interested in trying to dupe here.
What to do?
Seiko just says we go again. Like you said, he certainly doesn't need 3 Nomis. That's an Earth Elemental. That's the biggest one. That's the one Zephyrus offers you. That's how you know it's the good one. Wow.
I am not certain Boar has an outcome this game.
Yeah, suddenly the need for Zephyrus Frostnovas and start fatiguing the opponent has started a lot earlier than Boar might have anticipated.
Yeah, it feels more like necessity now than it does like an option.
Yes.
Because you got to worry about Zephyrus on the other side.
Yes.
Need a hand, Explorer?
So Elise whiffs on the Howl and the Swipe. Zephyrus with 3 left for the Frostnova. Whoa. Oh, of course, it's not even lethal on board, is it?
Correct. Needs to be lethal on board, or I think within 1 versus Druid, because Zephyrus doesn't see hero
Assumes that
powers.
it has a Druid hero power, yeah.
But it reads the Druid class as
Yes.
dealing 1 damage with hero power.
Correct. I'm annoyed I messed that up. I don't usually mess that up. I'm upset, Admirable.
Good.
You should be.
Time waits for no one.
Well, that's the out.
Into dislocator.
Wah, wah.
I can see.
7, 13, 18, 21 plus a Zephyrus, always dead. Seiko gets himself over the line, piles all of the pressure onto Fino now.
That's a big win.
It is a huge win. It was, as I said, not necessarily a must-win, but it was a must-win. It wasn't literally, by the strict definition of the word, a must-win game for Seiko, but he had to win that.
But yeah, just think about it.
Yeah.
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 You got to win.
Druid Mirror, very, very intricate matchup. It's such a weird balancing act between fight for tempo, gain control, make your opponent panic and use removal, and draw through your deck, set up the big explosive turns. Because you saw, right, once Seiko was in a secure enough position where his Elise became active and he just duplicated any hand of just stuff, threats, he was in control where he could kind of coast from that point onwards. And I think, I said it multiple times during the game, I think Boar recognized the spot really nicely where he's like, if it gets to that position, I'm not like card for card, value for value going to fight with what Seiko's version of Druid can do. So I'm going to take this out where I've been given a very aggressive hand and play it out. And I think he was probably right to do that in the scenario. Seiko just had the check for it.
Yep, when you got the check, those aggressive pushes usually end up failing and not looking quite as aggressive anymore. Either way, Seiko is here for an interview. Seiko, can you hear us?
Yeah, hey guys.
Hello, and congratulations on your win. A very important win here for you. I imagine coming into this week, things were pretty important for you. So talk to me about your preparation for this week and how you settled on what you did.
Yeah, so I didn't change much from the lineup because I think this is pretty much the best right now. And I think this lineup has an edge against any other lineup right now, so I just stayed with the lineup. I just played some mirrors for practice and thought about Q order. I also had the scenario in my head when, like against Boar, that he wouldn't Q the Druid if I have the priest up, but it didn't work out because I thought like that if my priest is open, it keeps the Druid in check, but it didn't. So I lost the Q order there.
I want to ask you a specific question. Hopefully you can remember the turn, because it seems like an opportunity for me to learn things about Control Warrior, which is you, against the Priest, you chose to give your opponent a brawl out, like a 25% brawl win of the big guy, like the 10-8 or whatever it was, winning the brawl, when you could have guaranteed cleared it with the Weapons Project and Shield Slam. Like, do you know the turn I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the turn.
So, like, I just want to hear what your thought process was, because it was a really interesting turn to me.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the double brawl in hand, and I miss out on the single room target removal. And I felt like it's way too expensive if I clear the 10 time, because I even have to tank it, right? To clear it.
No, I believe it was just like Weapons Project, Armor Up, Shield Slam, and it costs you the Snip Snap in play. And you could have used the Snip Snap or your weapon, I believe, to kill it, if I'm remembering it rightly.
Yeah. I think it was just too expensive. I needed the single target, I feel, to win the game.
And so now with one match left and picking up the big win here, you're in a spot to stave off relegation here. And I imagine your next match has to be concerning you a little bit as well. So I want to hear your thoughts on that one.
I think it's not much about my relegation anymore. I think the tiebreakers work out, but I think I need to win so Fino can make it if he wins both. So he gets the head-to-head if Boston loses both his matches. So I'll try my best to win so Fino get a chance to get the head-to-head tiebreaker.
Well, all right, Seiko, it's good to hear from you. It's good to see you back in form. I think you played pretty darn well this match. I'm very impressed with what I saw here. So congratulations on your win, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next one. Oh, I'm sorry, continue.
I missed the overkill.
I'm sorry?
With the patron. I missed the overkill with the patron last match.
I love how that's the thought.
Yeah.
Great spot, Seiko. Great spot. Pure form.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well, congratulations on your win, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks. Bye.